Yeah. At this time, I'm going to call to order the meeting of the Town Center Committee on Friday, June 11th, 2021. We are meeting for the first time in over a year in the Matthew Thornton Meeting Room in the Town Hall. We have some relaxed rules of engagement. We're supposed to maintain 6 feet of separation between each other. And masks are requested throughout the building, but not necessary when you're speaking. When you're speaking into the microphones, you don't need a mask. And or when you're speaking to each other, you don't need a mask. So that's the rule today. Tonight, some of these rules get relaxed further as the governor's mandate for closing public buildings ends. And it's yet to be determined, I think, what we will do in Merrimack. Is that right, Nick? You were reporting on last night's council meeting. I think they weren't clear on.
Well, the council has decided to ease requirement of social distancing from required to encouraged.
Yeah.
And the mask use is optional for those who are vaccinated, and it is recommended for those who are not vaccinated.
Yeah. Okay. I personally am vaccinated, and I hope it works. And I think most everybody here is vaccinated. And
I am. I was told you're not supposed to ask, though.
No, I didn't ask. You notice I didn't ask. I just said I assume you are.
I danced around it.
Right.
A little pirouette.
Okay, so we can start our meeting. I'm glad everyone's here. Matt Chevenel is excused, as I mentioned earlier. School's shutting down this afternoon, and I think for the rest of the summer. And so he's taking advantage of a trip to the beach. Our first order, let's see here. I'll take the minutes, and the first order of business is approval of minutes for April 16th, which I sent around previously, and I hope you all had a chance to read them. And I would take any opportunity to make a correction or a motion to approve these minutes.
I'll move approval of the April 16th, 2021 minutes.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, seconded by Bill Wilkes. And so, any discussion? All in favor of that?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And opposed, there's none, so they're all in favor. In favor. And it was Kyle and Wilkes. Okay, thank you. We get on with our business. The agenda, the first thing I wanted to report on was that the town council made a change to our charter since our last meeting. It was on May 13th at the request of myself and Finley after our discussion at the April meeting. We've added the Merrimack Media Services as a representative on the TCC. And that is in disguise as Nick LaValle, and he will now be a voting member and a full member of the committee, or his designee.
That's right.
As pointed out, yeah. So that's good news, and I'm happy about it, and it was, and it's official. If anybody wants a copy of the amended charter, all it does is just adds the media services. So that's that. The next item on our agenda is the status of the Sauhegan River Trail. Kyle.
Thank you, Nelson. I've got a few updates here.
Good.
So on the historical side of the project, we've been working on that for a while. We're nearing the conclusion of that, which is good news. Our sub-consultant has created three interpretive sign panels to talk about the former works of both the dam and the sluiceway structure and all that is entailed over the years. And frankly, they were really, really impressive. I sent them to Anita and Bill Listoka from the
Yeah,
Heritage Commission, and they both were thrilled
yeah.
by them. And in fact, just kind of a funny anecdote, Anita said there was stuff there she didn't know,
Oh,
which
really?
is saying something.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, of course, DHR had many, many comments.
Yeah.
Most of them just little kind of grammatical and punctuation kind of stuff. So the sub-consultant is working to remedy that, but I expect to clear that hurdle soon.
Yeah, yeah. Could you send those around? I'd like to see.
I'd prefer not to until we have the final copy, but certainly once I get the final
Okay,
copy, I will.
That's fair.
I just
because
didn't want
copies
the
without
incorrect
right
copies to
comma.
be out
Yeah,
there and get distributed.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, now, you said this was the historical committee, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
So that's the historical aspect of the
Yeah.
project. The next step is the wetlands permit. And we
Okay,
submitted the wetland application
Yeah.
a while back. I went to Conscom, I've reported to you guys all of that. We, since our last meeting, we got got a request for more information from DES with 27 items of comment relative to our permit, which is a lot. Me and my consultant have never seen that many comments
Yeah.
come back on a permit. So most of the comments related to the crossing of the wet meadow from the
Yeah.
fire department to the wooded area south of there,
Mhm.
which is really the key connection part.
Oh, yeah, you gotta have that.
So their preference is for us to minimize impact to that wetland area through use of an elevated boardwalk.
Yeah,
And I know that's something way, way, way back we talked about
We
as part
did.
of the committee.
yeah, yeah,
And there was different manifestations of it. It ended up not happening largely because of the federal requirement, the federal highway requirement, that whatever we build with these TAP funds has to be designed for a 50 to 75-year design life.
uh-huh.
And wooden planks on top of a meadow is not that.
Oh,
So that's why we went away with it and went with the design
Yeah.
that we have today. So now DES is pushing back on that. I don't believe they'll approve the permit without it. So where we are now is in a funding jam. So of course, the elevated boardwalk could cost as much as $400,000 more. And so I had a preliminary conversation the last couple days with my consultant and with DOT,
Yeah.
the program manager.
yeah,
And those discussions are gonna continue into the coming weeks to see if there's anything we can do. At this point, DOT sent us an email saying that we're at our cap for the project
yeah,
with the two TAP grants combined. And that any additional costs would have to be non-participating by the state, which means the town would pay 100% of that. So we have their stand, and we're gonna push to see how we can change their stand.
yeah.
And we'll have good discussions with that, I'm sure. So right now, that's where we're at.
Well, any questions?
Sounds like another chapter in the book.
Yeah, where were they 5 years ago when we started?
Well, that's the interesting part, is we had brought up the boardwalk idea to them
Yeah,
way before, and we had told them the federal highway requirement, and they didn't say no, but they didn't say yes either at
Yeah.
the time.
yeah.
I guess they were waiting for the submittal
Yeah.
to say no.
How about we just bring in a bunch of fill and make a raised berm right across?
Well, that's what we were proposing, and they hated that idea. Remember,
Yeah.
it was gonna be kinda like a causeway,
Yeah,
is what we were constructing with a
Yeah.
the culvert pipe to take the
Yeah,
drainage that comes
yeah,
from
you
Woodbury Street.
Take care of the
down.
drainage.
What they're worried about is, they're still calling it a floodplain, even
Yeah.
though the dam has been removed.
Yeah,
And that's kind of the biggest issue is anytime you talk about 100-year flood or 500-year flood zones,
yeah,
DES gets anxious.
yeah,
And
yeah.
perhaps rightfully so.
Rightfully so, but
Yeah.
that's not in it.
Right. So those are the cases we're making, and,
Yeah,
you know, we'll continue to work through the DES side of it. I don't think they're gonna relent from that requirement. So that leaves us at the DOT side of things, to try and get more funding for the project.
yeah, yeah,
In what form that takes, I don't know at this point.
yeah. Any thoughts from the committee? Any solutions? Thank you, Kyle. That's written down somewhere. You've got it on a little note. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, thanks.
Yeah, I'll give you the notes on that
Yeah,
to
okay, thank you.
simplify your note-taking.
I don't
Yeah,
have any solutions, but just from a curiosity standpoint, if we put the sidewalk, when we put the sidewalk on Woodbury, is there any kind of change in the drainage situation that would divert water away from that, that we could make an argument to DES to say, hey, you know,
No,
there isn't gonna be as much water because we're doing this sidewalk project and,
no, it won't change the drainage at all. The current drainage system does outlet. We have structures on Woodbury Street already that outlet into that ditch, and the sidewalk will just do the same thing. In fact,
yeah, we're
we'll,
not,
we'll get to it in a minute or two here.
yeah,
But that's part of the Woodbury Street project as well.
okay.
yeah. Okay, nice try, Bill.
Yeah, good thought.
Yeah, yeah. All right, tell us about Woodbury Street.
Okay, so Woodbury Street, and I think that's on the agenda a couple times, Nelson.
Is
I
it?
think C and F are probably similar items. One
Yeah,
says construction.
yeah, one with, yeah,
So the update on Woodbury Street, the plans are in the final stages of preparation. Dawn has done an amazing job of it, and the project's looking good. She's just about ready to submit the wetlands application. She's just waiting on one piece of correspondence from the Natural Heritage Bureau. Those are the folks that we submit the project location, and they let us know if there's any critters or wildlife or fauna or anything that we need to worry about. Bats is the brown, whatever, bat,
brown bat, yeah.
is the one that seems to be pretty high up on their radar the last few years.
Yeah,
And what that would limit is when we could construct the project as far as
Yeah.
cutting down trees.
Yeah.
But that's not the end of the world if those are found. So we'll be submitting the wetlands application soon. Dawn did go to meetings in preparation of the submittal of the application to the Sauhegan River Local Advisory Committee.
Yep.
And they endorsed the project.
Yes,
And
we
they're gonna
did. Yep.
submit that to DES. And similarly, the Merrimack Conservation Commission,
uh-huh,
Dawn visited with the commission on the project, and they gave their approval and endorsement of the project
Yeah.
as well. So Dawn will, so that'll be sent directly to NHDES. It
yeah,
will become part of the permit application when it
Yeah.
gets there.
yeah.
So that's all good news.
Yeah, but it's not good news, because we're not gonna get, it sounds like we're not gonna get the construction this year, which is what
We don't know that yet. It'll depend how quick it goes through.
yeah.
You know, we're just at the beginning of the construction season.
Yeah, we're
There's
at the
still time.
beginning of the construction season.
Um,
People got their crews out and the construction people are
Yeah.
working, but they're not working on our project.
yeah,
How did we get, I mean, we're a town, building a sidewalk on one of our streets, and how did we get involved with people at the state level, demonstrating that we aren't hurting the brown-nosed bat or whatever he is. And you know, how do those things flow down to everything?
It doesn't.
Did they go through that when, you know, when they built the sidewalk here in front of the town hall, they rebuilt it.
Right.
Did we go through that?
We did not. And the answer to your question, it's a really great question, Nelson. It's the wetland application. Over the years, the wetland application has become very much more overarching.
More than wetlands.
More than wetlands, yeah. Any wetland application we submit now goes to DHR, Historical Review.
Yeah,
It has always gone to NHB, the Heritage Bureau.
yeah,
So that's nothing new. But the minute you have wetlands that you're going to impact
yeah,
on your project,
yeah,
that's when all of this stuff comes into play.
yeah,
If there were no wetland impacts on the Woodbury project, we'd be
Yeah.
under construction
yeah,
pretty soon.
yeah,
But because, you know, there is that ditch line, takes
yeah.
all of the water from McElwain, Bishop, and Woodbury,
Uh-huh.
and it brings it down,
And channels it into the river.
channels it down into the river trail
Which
project,
we're not
exactly.
disturbing.
Yeah. So the short answer is the wetland permit triggers all of that.
Oh, okay. I was wondering how, you know, it sounds like you can't do anything anymore.
No, you can. You can. If you avoid wetlands, and you use town money,
But-
it's pretty easy to get something going.
So Kyle, realistically, I mean, if we had approvals by August 1, hypothetically, with the contractors, I think, being all busy, are we pretty much out for this year?
Well, I think what we would likely do is, if everything went amazingly well, let's be optimistic. Dawn submits the application, they get it back to us in a reasonable amount of time, and sometimes their reviews take 6 months. This is a pretty minor project. It's just a ditch line. I'm hoping that we can do the minimum expedited permit. We don't have to do a full permit. That's the hope. A lot of that depends on what NHB sends back to us, whether there's critters or not. But I'm hoping it'll be the expedited permit. What we would do is prepare our bid specifications and plan package, and we'd put it out to bid and see what we get. You know, there may be a contractor that, and this is a month project. It'll be pretty
Yeah.
quick and easy to do. So there may be a contractor that says, hey, I've got this window between projects. I can sneak this in and make a little extra money this year. And if we find that contractor and a good price, we'll go ahead and construct it this year. If not, well, if we get an outrageous price or no bidders, then we would have to rebid.
I mean, this could be put in, I mean, you could put it in up until probably November 15th, or
Yeah.
maybe even.
We'd want to be done by November 1st, because there's paving involved. And when you pave the sidewalks, it's 2 1-inch lifts. And when you get into late October, sometimes it's hard to find days warm enough.
Can you put
to
a base
pave.
coat in and then put the final coat in the spring?
Not really for a sidewalk, because then you'd have that lip at the curb line. So probably not. But, you know, I remain optimistic we can get it done this year, but you're right, it may not happen till next year. But it is coming.
Sure.
You know what upsets me just is, and I hope to God nothing happens, but just somebody getting injured, like hit by a car or whatever, and we didn't have a sidewalk there.
Right.
I mean, we've kind of proven that there's a lot of foot traffic there, and, you know, the foot traffic is a younger population that tends to be invincible, and if we could get them off the road, it would be so much more important, and to get hung up in these bureaucratic things, it's really kind of frustrating.
I agree with you, and really that's the nature of every project we do. You look at the roundabout we're doing, bridge projects. I mean, they're all, hopefully we get it done before something happens. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing the projects.
Right, right.
But I share your frustration, and am hopeful that this one will get done quickly.
It's too late for quick. It's too late for quick.
So you say that, Nelson, but this one really is a pretty quick project.
No, I'm just going back to when we first decided we wanted to do it, which was over 5 years ago.
Right, right,
You know,
but for the project, so it was a concept then. From
Yeah.
the time the money was approved,
Yeah,
which is when we can actually start working on it. The timeframe is pretty short.
well, yeah, from your department's point of view in this particular cycle, but I'm going back to our original application and all of that. Well,
Sure, yeah.
anyway, thank you for the report. Is all of that written in there?
It
And
is.
I will, okay, good. All right, I'll have nice long minutes. You don't mind if I
Oh,
add
they're
a
not
talk?
very long, believe me.
Well, they will be when I get done.
Okay, very good.
Ruh-roh.
Thank you, Carl. I appreciate that. The next thing on, what?
They will be when I get done.
Well,
You kill me.
you gotta have fun with this. Let's see. The high school master plan, I don't have any report from Matt. I don't think anything's happening over there with the new school board and all the fun they've been having with the COVIDs and openings and closings. I asked him to send us something, and if he does send us something, I will include it in the minutes of the meeting and let you all know what's happened. But I don't think anything has gone forward there. The next thing is very interesting. It's the results of the videotaping on Woodbury Street. This was our groundbreaking ceremony that we were going to have.
So
And-
named by you.
What? What? No, Nicholas was in, was in the boat too. And he did a wonderful job. I hope you all had a chance to look at that video. It's really nice, and you talk about, he's got some good shots of kids walking in the road and cars trying to get by them. It's really, really
Yeah,
good.
it was well done. I've actually been getting some calls from Hollywood, you know, people
Well, I
wanting me
wouldn't be
to.
surprised because you starred in one of the,
I was afraid that Bill Wilkes would become a diva. That was what I was trying to prevent, but congratulations on your pending Hollywood career.
Yeah, really. No, I don't think I will get any calls, but it was fun to do.
yeah?
And Nicholas
It-
taught me a few things, and I told some war stories about it.
Yeah.
But
Uh,
it was definitely fun to do,
It
and
looked
and
good.
I thought it came out well, and
Yeah.
especially the stuff on Woodbury Street.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because I don't know if you staged that with like a bunch of kids, but
No, we didn't
but
stage it.
it was pretty
Dramatic,
dramatic of the
Yes.
people walking across
Yeah.
the road.
yeah.
Yeah, if you want to get a point across in 2021, I mean, video is the means to do it. So
Yeah,
Justin and I put a call into our, the videography teacher at the school. We said, "What time does school get out?" And he said just about noon. It was on a Friday, I think. We went over there, and he said, but they actually start kind of leaving early dismissal just before then. So we got over there maybe 20 of, and just kind of waited around the corner, and kids started coming down. So we got some really great shots. I think if we had done it at a different time of maybe earlier in the spring or when there was more sports activity or something, then maybe we'd have, teams, and it would have been even more
Yeah.
dramatic. But we were able to get the shots that we needed, and it was great. We had great participation. How that was written was I just had a series of questions prepared, and I talked over the phone with Nelson. So Nelson really helped me write that. And then also Dawn Twamala as well. She helped me
yeah.
work
Dawn-
through that as
Dawn
well
looked
because
good in it, yeah,
we wanted Dawn's perspective, and we illustrated that with the behind the scenes stuff of her at work, which
Yeah.
was Kyle's idea. So this really was a collaborative effort. As much as I'd love to take credit for it all, it wouldn't have happened without the input of Kyle, Dawn, and Nelson, and then Bill's participation as well. And now Bill knows firsthand, as we've worked with Kyle before, so he's been, he's been part of videos with us. We want to make people look as good as we know that they are.
You're
And
doing
that's
it,
our
yeah.
mission at Merrimack TV when we're creating content for whether it's going to be a volunteer board or another department. We want to make people look as good as we know that they are. And same thing with Bill. You know, we ran through those lines a couple times. We gave him a couple pointers. And with Dawn especially too, not to give away some of the magic, but you know, Dawn definitely spoke to the lens in that video. And then when she was off camera, I told her, just look down at your script and just read it, because again, we don't want her stammering over lines and not looking like she doesn't know what she's talking about. We know Dawn knows exactly what she's talking about. We know how hard she works and how much of a talent she is with the Department of Public Works. So that's how we produce the video, and we're looking forward to producing more content for the Town Center Committee. And before I go into other videos that we'd like to do moving forward, just in terms of the the reaction, or how much engagement we're getting from it. I'll start with the bad news. We had the video on our page, the Town Center page, reached 60 people, which out of 337 followers, that's not that great. It only had 6, but it only had 6 engagements, and that's kind of the reason for it. When a post is published to the page, its success will only be as good as the engagement is. So the reach will only be as good as the engagement is. So in comparison, with the Stair Project video, it had 28 engagements. What engagements are is whether it's liked or shared, or there's another reaction or comment.
Okay.
So the more engagement we have on a post, the more likely it is that we'll have a better reach. So the Stair Project, 28 engagements, that video reached 503 unique accounts. Same thing with our Seeking Volunteer video. 543 people were reached because it had 28 engagements. With the Woodbury Sidewalk video, 60 people were reached because it only had 6 engagements. So what I ask this committee is, if you have personal Facebook pages, and some of you may not even be on Facebook that much, you have the page, you use it to, see photos of your nieces, nephews, grandsons, family members, friends. But if you just click share on something, that could help boost the reach.
I tried to share it, but for whatever reason, it didn't give me that option. Is there something I was missing there, or?
Maybe we could talk that over the phone, or I could show you after the meeting. You're also an admin on the page, so I think when you go to visit that page, it might log you into the kind of the admin mode. So that could be the reason why it wasn't shared. We could talk about that. But if you have a personal Facebook page, share it to your personal page so that it just kind of creates, more engagement. And those type of engagements are called organic reach, meaning not paid for. Facebook is, it's a for-profit enterprise. They want to make money. So they do want organizations, people who admin pages, to pay money for their posts to be seen. The caveat to that is, if something has an organic engagement, then it's going to be seen by more people. So we don't necessarily want to have to pay for our posts to be seen, so we're going to rely on an organic reach. So just share the post if you can. But the good news, it's not all bad news. The good news is our reach may be down, but the overall page likes is up in the past 30 days by 32%. We had just over 25, I think 27 likes over the past 30 days. So that even though the video didn't get all that much engagement, those that it did reach, we were able to get some likes from that. So we have more followers on our page, which is a good thing, over the past, versus the 30 days prior. And also that video will be seen. We're not just going to share that once. I mean, it's an ongoing project. We'll share it again, and we'll share it on the Merrimack TV page again. And also, we'd like to create more videos. I mean, listening to Kyle talk about the Sauhegan River Trail and the history of it, I think that's a good video to potentially do. And then also, prior to this meeting, I was thinking a great video to produce would be just an overall, where is the town center? People can assume it's in this immediate area, but I think something that details, exactly where the locations that define the town center, I think that would make for a really great video. So I think that should be the next thing that we do moving forward, and especially with, it being summer, there's more going on.
Yeah, you need to get a hold of the report of the ITRAC committee, which has a map of the whole area, and that defines exactly the boundaries
Yeah.
of the town center.
And I think highlighting all of the different locations within it.
Yeah,
I mean, Watson Park is part of it.
yep.
There's apparently, is there more than one trail than the Sauhegan River Trail? Is that,
Well, that's the only one that exists. Well, I shouldn't say exists. That one, there's another trail planned for the future, which actually goes off of town property and then comes back. And it's a trail that leads from Watson Park to Twin Bridge Park. And it goes on private property. So we have not highlighted that. That's something that we're waiting for the day when that person comes in to develop his land.
Gotcha.
We're going to surprise him with, not surprise him, he knows about it. The owner knows, but, and I think there's actually a trail there, but it's not on our property, and we
Gotcha.
can't really advertise it as something people should start using, or to wind up like the, like the Watson Park mess or something.
is the high school part of the town center?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so I think some of these areas, I think the focus maybe, or the focal point, the recreational type areas like Twin Bridge Park, Kids Cove, Watson Park, the high school, the fields, any other trail that isn't on public or isn't on private property, I should say. That should kind of be the focal point, but then also include the fact that it's businesses are in the town center, and
Yeah.
just sort of a brief overview. Here's the town
Yeah.
center. These are the different locations, and
Yeah, we've got the two anchors. We've got the Tractor Supply Center on one side, and on the other side is the Rite Aid, and that whole development in there. So it goes, those are two big commercial centers, and then in between, of course, is canals and a few little ones along the way. So,
yeah,
and the town library is an important.
right, the library as well. Yeah, and
Right.
Elyria
Is the police
That's why
department, the
Karen's
fire
here.
department?
police
Police-
department,
Police
the
and fire,
Yeah,
Police and
Yeah.
fire are still
adult community
there.
center.
Yeah,
yeah.
town hall.
town hall.
Sure. Oh, and Abbey Griffin Park.
Yep.
And because the things that I think of too is, especially throughout the summer, we have events that are happening at Watson Park. We have events, the concerts happening at Abbey Griffin Park.
Yeah.
People are using the Kids Cove playground, to really get dynamic shots of the public using and
Yeah.
actively being present at the town center would be great
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
So
Fourth of
that's
July fireworks.
absolutely. And I was thinking, reason why I wanted to say the high school is, we have great footage from the football games and
Yeah.
a couple other games that took place back there. So,
Uh-huh.
so that's an update on my end. I should note that I've officially made a pitch to establish and admin a social media presence for the town of Merrimack as a whole. And I referenced my work with the Town Center Committee and the police department's Facebook page, Merrimack TV's page, within that pitch as well. So
And what about Public Works? You've done
I've done,
stuff for them too, right?
Yes.
Advertising. Yeah.
Kyle graciously made me an admin of the Public Works page as well.
Yeah.
So,
Good.
yeah, so thanks for having me. This is great. I think I'm hoping that I'm able to establish this social media presence for the town, not just limited to Facebook, but definitely Facebook is first. And I see it as a curated page,
Yeah,
because we do have great social media presence for different town departments, those I just mentioned.
Yeah.
And really the emphasis of a Town of Merrimack page would push that content
Mhm.
forward,
yeah,
you know, to represent the town as a whole, share content from the Department of Public Works, the Police Department, and then the Town Center Committee's page as well. And I'm hoping that maybe other committees, subcommittees will create their own presence so it can be shared through that conduit that would be
Yeah.
the
Good.
town's presence. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I have today.
that's great. That was a great report, thank you.
Question on Woodbury Street. Once we do have a sidewalk, we gotta get them to use it. So, I mean, other than like having the police department sit there and yelling at the kids to get on the sidewalk, you know, I guess signage or something like that, or?
I've got a brand-new yellow vest for you. You can direct them.
I think a YouTube video, Phil, maybe.
No, I mean, it's like teaching old dogs new tricks, right?
Yeah, it'll take people a while to get used to it, but, let's get.
Maybe we can get the
get
sidewalk
the
there, and
sidewalk
we'll,
there.
we'll run Nelson up and down
If
the
they-
road in his car, and let him get real close to the,
If we build it, they will come.
I think an idea, especially since it's used so widely with the high school kids, I think passing along that message to the videography teacher at the high school,
Yeah,
they have a program called, it's something, you know, What's Up Merrimack. They have a program that they produce that's played for the students at the high school.
yeah,
Maybe I could talk to the videography teacher and see if he could create a video, knowing his audience is the high school kids, about,
Yeah.
you know, using the sidewalk once it's
yeah,
there.
that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I hope some of them are still there when it gets built.
Got a cynic over here.
If I could just step back to Nick's previous comments
Please, yeah,
about where
yeah.
is the town center.
Yeah,
Wildcat Falls Conservation Area should certainly be included in
Oh.
that.
well,
And
yeah.
the further point, we have the roundabout project under construction now.
yeah,
And part of the reason the council approved that project was that it would serve as an entrance to the town center.
yeah.
That's
Well,
Oh, that's interesting.
that's
a good one.
interesting. And then they took the money away for the Twin Bridge, not, for the, Longa, the one that goes in the Longa property, our next year's budget, remember? So, well, I'll be talking to them in October. I'll vet some of this at that time on them instead of you. Thank you for hanging in here.
You mentioned that the businesses on either end, it's anchored by the Tractor Supply and then the Rite Aid?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's the Rite Aid Plaza, I think is what they call it. There's more than one business in both of these places. You know, it's not just Tractor Supply, there's a bunch of little guys down there too, and the fitness lab that, I think it's called Fitness Lab now, yeah, down there. And then there's the DW Diner, which is popular, and Frank's Place,
All those plazas down there.
yeah.
Okay.
And canals too, you know, the CVS canals, that's right in the middle of everything.
Yep.
Okay, well, thank you for that good report, Nick. And the next thing on our agenda, I think, is the Route 3 Babusick Brook Bridge. I don't know if there's been any changes or improvements, but I know that you went to the town council, Kyle, and you ask for some money to do a study or a proposal for a construction of that bridge. And how'd that,
Yep, so, yeah, thank you, Nelson. So we did, the Route 3 bridge over Babusick Brook. Again, we have funding difficulties on that project. It's going to cost more to construct than we have programmed by DOT currently in the 10-year plan. One of the ways we are looking to get around that, as you noted, is by trying to go after a federal grant
Yeah.
through FEMA
yeah,
called the BRIC program.
yeah.
And the town council did authorize us to hire a consultant to do the benefit cost analysis
Mm-hmm,
that's required as part
Yeah.
of the BRIC grant application.
yeah,
So that's underway.
okay,
In addition, we want to still move forward with final design on the project, and we've been working with DOT since April to try and get there. You recall, we submitted the feasibility study or the engineering study back in October to them,
Mhm.
and that's where the funding discrepancy became known.
Well, that's because they lengthened the bridge, right,
But
considerably?
it's, so when a bridge project first gets introduced,
Yeah,
you don't have any engineering data at the
Yeah.
beginning, so it's done on a per square foot basis.
mhm,
It doesn't factor in detour bridges, easements, other complications, bridge width.
yeah,
So it was all based on a much smaller bridge,
yeah,
which is what is there now.
yeah,
And what's needed is very much larger, and we need a detour bridge.
yeah,
So there's a lot of factors that come into play, and this is a common thing. DOT's funding issues are real, and they're struggling.
yeah,
So us seeking the BRIC grant would, if we get it, it would help both us and it would help the state.
yeah,
Because FEMA would pick up 75% of the total project cost, and DOT would pick up 80%
mhm,
of the remaining 25%,
yeah,
and we would pay 20% of the remaining 25%.
gotcha,
Versus in the Bridge Aid program,
yeah,
the state pays 80% and we pay 20%.
right,
So it benefits both of us. In light of that, we've been requesting that DOT let us move to final design for the project, because we
Mhm.
can't move forward
you're
into
gonna
final
need that no
design.
matter who pays
Right,
for it, yeah,
right, until they give us permission.
yeah,
So we're still waiting on that. We have
okay,
we have
they
a
haven't-
proposal from our consultant.
yeah,
We're prepared to sign the proposal and
Yeah.
move forward. We're just waiting for the notice to
Yeah.
proceed from DOT.
yeah,
There's a few reasons we want to do that. We think it'll be more attractive to FEMA,
mm-hmm.
certainly if it's a shovel-ready project.
Or shovel-ready, right, yeah.
Yeah, the term DOT uses is on shelf,
Okay, right,
when the final plans are done.
yeah,
But it would also give us the opportunity, should a transportation bill ever happen.
well, that's what I was gonna ask you about, this
Right.
stuff that's going on in Washington,
Right.
Depends, who knows what's in those bills anyway,
Right,
yeah.
exactly.
yeah.
So we'd want to be prepared in case there's money that comes along and
Yeah.
the state needs a place to spend it.
Yeah,
We don't mind being
we'd be happy.
that person
be
that
happy
takes
to
it.
oblige, right,
So, and I think I've stated that happened on the Turkey Hill Bridge
yeah,
through the ERA funding
yeah,
that happened a number of years ago. And the construction cost was $3 million. So of course, the town share was $600,000.
yeah,
The ERA funding picked up all of it. So
Yeah.
the town saved $600,000
Wow.
on that
Yeah,
bridge,
yeah.
which was gigantic.
yeah,
So we want to be, but the reason we got it is because we were ready.
yeah.
And that's where the
That's
case
where
we're
the
making
hope-
to DOT is,
Hopefully
we want to be ready.
We wanna be ready, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, good. Okay, good, you're aware of the covered bridge project, going on, that's, that'd be nice. But
I haven't seen much info on fundraising or anything. Is that occurring?
it's occurring. I spoke with Chuck Mower. He set up in the library parking lot. I don't know if any of you stopped to see him working on his chair project there. He's
I saw
making.
Nick's video.
We made a video about it.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay. I haven't seen that. Is it on the online somewhere?
It's on the Merrimack TV's Facebook page and YouTube channel. I can also post it to the town center page if you guys want. Since it took
Yeah.
place
It's
here.
it's in the town center.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. It's in the town center. Yeah, we did two videos actually. We did a preview to let residents know they could stop by last week while it was being built.
Yeah.
And then Colin produced a longer form video that showed the whole process.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's nice.
that'd be nice to see. Yeah,
Yeah, I'll share that this afternoon.
sure. Okay. Well, I just thought of it as we were talking here. That,
But the covered bridge project, is that just a total grassroots, like,
well,
there's no funding coming from any state,
no,
federal,
it's all
town?
privately raised money, and
It's a
they
lot-
are
It's
in
like,
the
what, 400 and some odd
yeah.
thousand?
Yeah, and they've got almost 200, I think.
Do they?
Is
Oh,
what
wow.
Chuck told me.
Wow, that's good.
Our pledges for, okay, whatever, that they're trying to do, and that'll be part of the Twin Bridge Park, of course. It really won't help us any, but it'd be nice to make a loop walkway, come back over, where you could go over the new bridge we haven't, that we were just talking about, and you could walk around and come through the covered bridge and come back up through Twin Bridge Park. So make a nice walking loop in the center of town.
In the future, Twin Bridge Road sidewalk.
Oh, that's the piece that's not yet in anybody's plan, or in the town center plan, but it's in the town center plan, it's not yet in the town council plan.
Right.
But we're gonna work on that,
Right.
yeah, okay. Okay, well, thank you, that's good information.
Is
and-
that private property that you're alluding to? Is there any development planned, or is that just like sitting idle for somebody in the future?
I don't know who owns the land that we're gonna be talking about.
The covered bridge?
Yeah, no, I think he means for the sidewalk on, what's that road?
Or no, I was thinking from Watson Park over to Twin Bridge, the private land.
Oh, that's a whole nother story. That's not involved here. We're talking about from Twin Bridge Park. In the park is where the covered bridge will be. And the loop would be if you walked into Twin Bridge Park and you walked over the covered bridge and then came back up I don't remember the name of that street.
Twin Bridge Road.
It was Twin Bridge Road to Route 3. And then come back across the brand-new bridge that's still in concept on Route 3 that makes a loop. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, there's two bridges in the park. That's why it's called Twin Bridges.
Yeah.
Interestingly, the two bridges were built as WPA projects, the Works Progress Administration, or Works Progress Act.
Yep.
And they were both masonry arch bridges. One of them washed away in the 2006 Mother's Day flood, and we put in a replacement bridge. So there's a steel with timber decking bridge out there, and then the covered bridge is proposed to sit on top of the other masonry arch bridge, to leave the historic bridge there and just put the covered bridge over the top, if possible. That's their plan. But yeah, it connects the Kids Cove Park. If you cross both of those bridges, you end up over at Twin Bridge Road through an easement. And then the future sidewalk that Nelson was referring to would bring you up Twin Bridge Road, which is just south of the Sal's Plaza. And then you could come back south across the proposed new bridge to the MYA facility, and then back into Twin Bridge Park, Kids Cove.
But back to my other question about Watson Park through that private,
Yeah,
is that, it was my understanding, and I don't know, I know enough to be dangerous, there was nothing going on with that.
that's true.
So that's just like a futuristic,
Yeah, it's a
kind of
concept,
concept.
it was presented to us as part of the iTrack study. That was a recommendation to build that trail through there, okay? But
but the
And-
landowner has no
as no immediate
desire or
plans,
immediate plans to do
No.
anything.
but he's aware of our desires. And he doesn't object to it, but he wants to see where he goes with the rest of the property. It's a big piece of property he's got in there. And it's still active business in there. Okay, the last thing we had for discussion was the Sohegan River footbridge. And I don't know if there's anything new there, Kyle, but
No, I don't have any updates on that project.
yeah, but it's still in the 10-year plan and off. in
It's
the-
not yet in the 10-year plan. Remember, the current 10-year plan was just approved by the governor a few months ago,
Yeah,
but that was a 2-year process that leads up to that.
yeah.
We're now in the process for the next
For the
10-year
next-
plan.
And that's the one, it's still
And
in there, right?
It's proposed to be in there.
Oh.
NRPC, National Regional Planning Commission, which has funding available to them to allocate to projects,
Yeah,
has slated our project
yes,
to be part of their allotment. As the money that comes from federal
Yeah.
highway
yeah,
gets allotted to the regional planning
Uh-huh.
commissions
yeah,
and to DOT.
right,
The NRPC share, they've said this project fits into that program for inclusion into the next
Yeah.
10-year plan,
yeah,
which won't be approved for another probably 15 months now.
yeah.
But we do expect it to be in the next
Yeah,
10-year plan.
okay, that's my recollection of where it was at. It's
Yeah.
kind of off in the future. And then construction goes out beyond.
And
Yeah,
again,
my
going
tenure.
back to the discussions in Washington about possible transportation bills,
Yeah,
you may recall, we did submit this project through Congressman Pappas's office
oh, did we?
as
Yeah.
a earmark project.
Yeah,
And it did make it to the next stage. Where it is now, I'm not sure.
yeah,
And if anything will come out of it, who knows?
yeah,
A lot depends on what gets accomplished in Washington.
yeah. And Congressman Pappas is running for reelection, right?
Oh, is that right?
Okay. Okay, that's the end of our discussion topics for today. We had to pick a time for our next meeting. I don't know what y'all think of that. This is, I'm gone the last 2 weeks of July, so I would propose we do it in August. Stephen?
Friday the 13th.
Is there a Friday the 13th in August?
Yep.
Yes, there is.
I can do that. I'll be gone the week before, so.
You'll be gone.
I'll be gone the week before, so I couldn't do the first week of August. I can definitely do the second.
Okay, let's do the 13th of August. Is that okay? Unless we have to have a groundbreaking before then.
That'd be a nice excuse.
Okay, save us if you can, Kyle.
I'll see what I can do.
Oh, thanks.
No pressure. Wouldn't you
Okay,
love to work for this guy as a manager?
I would,
Yeah. Keep you on task.
absolutely.
well, he does a good job without me. What else did I have here? I had another note from Nicholas, and we all talked about that, about the Facebook page and how to get there. You've all got those, I've forwarded those memos, so you all have access, and we'll get these into the file
Motion
system.
to adjourn.
Do we have a second to that motion? Seconded by Bill Cummings. Do we have discussion of that motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstaining? None. We are adjourned.
Happy, rest of June and July, guys.
Yeah.
You too.
Hope everybody's